Hello and welcome back to another episode of the Chronic Fatigue and Burnout Recovery podcast. Today is just a little bite-sized episode really because I wanted to do a short little snippet to help anybody who might be experiencing a crash or a flare or a setback, or maybe you've got some sort of acute infection at the moment and you're feeling a little bit low, a little bit hopeless, a little bit fed up, a little bit overwhelmed, a little bit frustrated, or just really, really, really low. So the first thing I wanted to say is feeling whatever you're feeling right now in response to whatever it is that you're going through, this challenge of the crash, the flare, the setback, the acute infection, is a completely normal human response. Recovering from a chronic illness, or, even if the goal isn't necessarily to recover, but just to improve your quality of life and feel a little bit better and have a little bit more capacity and be able to do a little bit more each day, enjoy your life a little bit more, it's such a courageous step. It is not for the faint-hearted. This journey is not for those people who are weak. This journey is for those people who are, in fact, incredibly strong and incredibly resourceful. And so give yourself a little bit of time to really feel the frustration, really feel the hopelessness, instead of trying to fix or change the situation. So very often when we're feeling frustration is a big one that often comes up with my clients, and hopelessness and despair as well. When we're feeling these feelings, it's because we believe that we should be somewhere else but exactly where we are. And allowing ourselves to feel into the experience, albeit an unpleasant one, helps us to find more acceptance at this moment in time for exactly where we are. And that acceptance is actually what will guide us towards more of a healing state, what will help us settle the nervous system, and what will help us move forward and eventually come out of this place that we're in. Because the one thing that is true in life is that change is inevitable, and you will not continue to feel exactly the same every single moment of the day from this point forwards. There'll be days when you feel better, and there'll be days when you feel worse again. But remember that as you progress through this journey, that progress is not linear. There will be ups and downs and periods where you feel like you're really achieving and being successful, and then periods when you feel like, what's the point? And I just want to hide in a hole. We've all been there. So understand, I guess, that these crashes, these flares, these setbacks, these experiences are often part of the journey. We tend to learn the most about ourselves when we are in the greatest amount of pain. So yes, it's wonderful to learn and grow when we feel good, but it's when we are really challenged that we're forced to dig deep and really reflect on what we're made of, and really kind of access those parts of ourselves that we need to access to heal, to grow, to come out of the place that we don't want to be. So when we experience a crash, a setback, or a flare, and we feel frustrated by it, or we feel angry at it, or we just feel completely overwhelmed and hopeless, there is a method to the madness in some sense, that this is an opportunity for you to learn a lesson, to refine your self-care, to get a better understanding of what your boundaries are and your capacity is like at this point in your journey. Sometimes these things happen because we did nothing wrong. It's not your fault. Sometimes we get an acute infection and that sets us back, and that's something that is completely beyond our control. But there can also be lessons to be learned in terms of reflecting back on maybe things that we have been doing that we shouldn't have been doing, or things we thought we could do, but now are realizing actually, in fact, we need to be a little bit more careful. Or maybe there's things that we know we should be doing that we haven't been doing as much of recently because we've been falling into those old patterns of giving too much to others and not giving enough to ourselves and not having boundaries in the right place. And that's not to blame you for whatever is happening. I hope that if you can identify things that have maybe led towards the crash, you can hold yourself with a deep sense of compassion and forgiveness, more so to acknowledge the situation and then learn something from the situation that you can take forward into the next few weeks and months of your journey, whatever that looks like for you. So I guess what I'm trying to say here is that if you are in a really low place right now, to first of all, give yourself space to feel exactly where you are, feel the frustration, feel the hopelessness, have a cry, feel the despair, feel the anger, feel whatever it is that you need to feel. And then once you've felt those feelings, to allow yourself to reach some form of settling, some form of acceptance, and maybe even, if you can, access a place of curiosity. We need to be regulated to access curiosity, or curiosity can even maybe in some cases help us access regulation. And from a place of curiosity, you could just get curious about what is the lesson here. And maybe the lesson is just surrender and rest. But maybe there are other lessons to be had due to whatever you're experiencing, or maybe there's new insights that will come through and the enforced rest has given you some space to reflect and think about where you could be supporting yourself better, or maybe additional supports that you could bring into your life, whether that's working with a practitioner or taking a nervous system course, or maybe even in some cases, it's actually doing less, taking a step back, taking the pressure off, whatever it might be for you. So if you are in some sort of crash or flare right now, we want to feel the feelings, settle the body, get curious, and really just allow yourself space without pressure to be exactly where you are. And then trust from this place, there can be movement. We're not necessarily going to stay stuck here forever. And one of the things I like to do, and I know that this could be controversial because people don't like rating things, is rating things on a scale of 1 to 10. Now, I've been going through a difficult time in my life right now, and one of the things I've been rating is my level of emotional pain. So sometimes it might be a 9 or a 10, but sometimes it's only a 1 or a 2. And as I'm moving throughout the day, I can sometimes think, oh, yeah, I'm only like a 5 right now. Or, oh yeah, that's gone up to a 6. Oh no, it's gone down to a 2. And so really how that exercise helps me is it helps me appreciate the impermanence of our suffering, and that there is opportunity for things to change. And yes, where you are right now might feel like a 9 or a 10, but tomorrow maybe it will be an 8.5. And the day after that, maybe it will be an 8. And then maybe a week after that, it will be a 6 or a 7 again. And so really reconnecting with this idea that this too shall pass, and that where you are right now, yes, it's painful, but if you can surrender to the pain, perhaps you can create a little bit less suffering for yourself. As that is another one of my favorite sayings, is that in life, pain is inevitable, but suffering is a choice. And that really just means that how we relate to our pain, the relationship we have with our pain, and pain in this case is whatever you're experiencing as you navigate this flare, however you relate to that will determine the extent to which you suffer. So this is just a little nudge from me to see if you could just start to relate to it just a little bit differently, even if it's only a very small amount. So I hope that has been a little bit of inspiration or hope today, maybe just some kind words to help you settle your system as you navigate whatever you're going through, and trust that things can get better from this point onwards.